Good morning, Lion fans, and welcome to this week's episode of The Roar Down, where we take an inside look at UNA football. We are done with spring practices, kind of getting through workouts and getting ready for finals. I'm Mike Ezekiel, the host today. Grant Wakefield's joining me today as Benjamin Ray. He's out this week. Hopefully, we'll be back next week as we continue some of these episodes and take a deep dive into UNA football. Grant, welcome, and excited to have another week of UNA football.
Thank you, Mike, and it should be a fun one. We've got two great guests on today. We'll kind of recap the spring and look forward to the summer. We're getting ever closer to the kickoff in the fall.
That's right. This week we're diving into the wide receiver room a little bit. Colby Ellis, he was here a few years ago as a wide receivers coach, and now he's back looking to capitalize on some of the success we've had with wide receivers over the years. Snap Reed's going to be in the house. He'll be our first guest coming up. He's a transfer from Tennessee State. He's ready to make a splash in the fall. Already had a great spring, and excited to talk to him, Grant.
Absolutely. It should be fun. A newcomer, one of several newcomers on this UNA team. We've already talked to a lot of them through the Roar Down so far this spring, and we'll talk to another one today.
And the final thing before we close this opening segment, kind of a new setup for us.
Yeah.
Usually we're upstairs in front of the backdrop, but we got an even better backdrop with some national championship trophies.
Absolutely. It's a great setup. We started it yesterday with Around the Diamond, Tuesday with Around the Diamond with Ashley Kozart and Jad Pratniak down here, and we get to sit in front of these, and of course you see the three national championship trophies on the top row up there as well.
Yeah, very excited to show that off. Snap Reed coming up right after this commercial break here on the Roar Down. All right, Lion fans, welcome back to this episode of the Roar Down. Mike Ezekiel joined by Grant Wakefield, and we got Snap Reed in the house today. He is a wide receiver coming over from Tennessee State. Believe sophomore season coming up, right?
Yes, sir.
Absolutely.
Red Shirt sophomore season coming up.
All right. Well, Snap, welcome to the show. Thanks for joining us. I know you got a class at 9:30, so we'll try to get you out of here as you get ready for finals. Let's start there. Just what's it been like transitioning, obviously going through the spring, but also academically getting ready for finals?
It's been good. It was like kind of like a smooth transition going from different platforms when it comes to school and stuff like that. But all the coaches here, they helped me, got me moved in and stuff pretty fast. And then my dad doesn't play about school, so yeah, I had to get on that quick. Yes, sir.
Yeah, keep those grades up.
There you go. So you were an early rollee. You come over from Tennessee State, and we kind of ask all these newcomers this, but what drew you to UNA? Why North Alabama?
So at first it was my OC from TSU, Coach Partridge. That's what really drew my interest at first. But then, like, once he got me to meet all the coaching staff and stuff on my visit, and then I saw how, like, I was going to be living and things of that nature, like, it was like a no-brainer for me.
And Coach Partridge obviously entering his first season here at North Alabama, and a system you've already kind of played in. How easy has that transition been for you? And has it kind of been a role for you where not only are you getting adjusted to UNA, but also you're helping others get adjusted to the system that you've played in?
Yes, sir. It was like an expectation that I came in here and be a leader and help everybody learn offense. I took really great, good notes when he was at TSU my freshman year. So that transition with the playbook and stuff, it's been smooth. Like, when I came on my visit, he was quizzing me and stuff like that over the plays, and I was nailing it. So, yes, sir, it's been like a real easy, smooth transition. And then, like, helping everybody else really been natural because everybody in the receiver room really eager and wants to learn and stuff like that. So, yeah, that's been real easy going for me.
All right, so now take us back to spring ball and the weeks long stretch that you guys have with spring ball. Your first one, of course, here in Florence. But what were your kind of overall thoughts just one for you as a player, but as a team as a whole during spring practice?
For me as a player, we got this thing in the receiver room. Coach Ellis talks about not flinching, and like when adversity hits, like the make of a man, like what are you gonna do when adversity hits? And I think the receiver room this spring ball, we didn't flinch at all. We took the challenge head on, and I think we had a really good spring. And then team-wise, I think we had a good spring too. Like I've heard from all the coaches, it's like a way better energy. And then all the transfers came in. We was ready to work. We didn't really do a lot of talking. Like we came in and fell in with the returners had already standard they had already set, and we just came in to help make it rise and to meet it.
I love that, and I love that you alluded to Coach Ellis and his don't flinch mentality.
Yes,
and one of my favorite drills I saw you guys do during the spring was where you had your back turned and he's got the football and he's ready to throw it and he calls your name and you have a split second to turn around and catch it. Talk about that drill. Does it create some anxiety for everybody when you're waiting on your name to be called?
Yes, sir, a little bit. And then Coach Ellis tries to throw the ball as hard as he can. So, yeah, that's like you said, don't flinch mentality. When that ball in the air, you don't know when it's coming. It might be right at you. Or as soon as you turn your head, it might be right at you, but you still got to make the play.
And as a transfer, what's it been like kind of for you to mesh with the returners, but also kind of mesh with some of the newcomers as well?
See, on my visit, most of the newcomers was on that visit. Like, we signed everybody that was on my visit. So that's been smooth. Everybody's been very welcoming, especially the returners. It wasn't any, like, bad blood or anything like that. Everybody knew we came to compete and what we need to get done, and everybody wants to win. So everything has been, like, we merged really great, especially in the receiver room, real welcoming, like returners like KJ Field, Noah Gregg, and Kane Cooper. Like, everything. They made it real easy with a real smooth transition.
Yeah, and I'm glad you mentioned those guys. The guys that are returning, KJ Fields, Noah Gregg, some leaders that have been in that room, Caden Cooper as well, as you mentioned. I want to go back to where you're from originally. You're from Memphis, so you're not too far from the Florence area, and you got a lot of other people that are also from that area. So I'm sure the adjustment hasn't been too difficult knowing that you're this close to home.
Yes, sir. It's been a real easy transition. Like I've been saying this whole time, like the transition wasn't hard at all. Florence has been like a real, like, I got baptized here not too long ago. Yes, sir.
That's
so, like,
awesome.
yeah, that's how, that's just how easy and good the transition's been. I feel like this community and, like, being around the city and stuff like that, it's, like, really, it was really for me and stuff. So I was glad that when I came here, you know, hey, you anxious about making the right decision, coming out to Portland and stuff, I knew I made the right decision. I've been closer to God than I've ever been, and this might be one of the closest teams I've ever been a part of.
Well, that's awesome, Sam. We're excited to have you here in Florence, that's for sure. But you look outside of the locker room, you see Bank Independent Stadium over there. What's it like knowing that you're going to be one of the first players to ever play in that stadium?
Oh, that's exciting. You drive past it every day. Y'all see how fast it's coming along and stuff like that. Like, I just can't wait to play in front of a real home crowd again. Like at Tennessee State, we played in Nissan Stadium, so you can't really feel it out. It's gonna feel like a real home crowd and stuff like that, and that's what I'm really excited for it.
Yeah, it's going to be a good, intimate feeling. About 10,000 fans will be seated here, and that's about what we average. So hoping for some sellouts. We've already done really well in the season ticket department. So if you haven't heard anything on that yet, be ready in the summer. You'll probably get your number called soon as we get ready to sell some more tickets, but doing great in that department. Snap, final thing for me, and because Benjamin Ray's not here, I feel like I have to do this. We've asked everybody that's been on the show, who's going to get the first touchdown in Bank Independent Stadium? Obviously, there's going to be a lot of first here and there, first catch, first completed pass, but first touchdown, you got any predictions?
First touchdown is going to be any form or fashion by Destin Wade, our quarterback. He's either going to run it in or he's going to throw one of the receivers one.
You know, I think Destin Wade was my pick as well, but I want to say it was last week. Was it Nolan Forsha maybe that said Snap Reed's going to be the first touchdown?
I think so.
I think it was Nolan
last
Forsha.
week or 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, how does it make you feel to know that you're also in that mix?
Hey, if the ball's in the air and it comes my way, you got to go get it. So,
I was going to say, do you want to be on the receiving end of that
oh,
Destin Wade
yes, sir. I
touchdown?
most definitely want to be on the receiving end, but if any receiver gets it, I'll be happy as well. Yes, sir.
I love that, sharing the wealth, and obviously you see the camaraderie with this team as we've went through these last few weeks interviewing different players, and Snap, you certainly fit into that as well. Thank you for taking time out of your day to join us here on the Roar Down.
Yes, sir. Thank
All
you for
right.
having me.
All right,
Meet
this
y'all.
is
That's what
Snap Reed, and we're going to take a quick break, and Coach Colby Ellis will join the hot seat here in a moment on the Roar Down. Hello, Lion fans, and welcome back to the Roar Down. We're here in Florence, Alabama, right in front of the trophy case inside CB&S Bank Arena. You see those 3 national championship trophies and 7 total, but 3 from football. Excited to see that. But we got Colby Ellis in the house today, our wide receivers coach. He's a familiar face, but you may not have saw his face too well the first time because it was during COVID-19. A lot of the photos of Colby was with a mask on. But Coach, you're back here in your second stint, and obviously Florence was special enough for you to come back, even if you went through all that the first time, but now you're back here again.
Yeah, it was a unique time. My first time here. Obviously coming in 2020 with COVID and everything going on, and obviously the season and kind of how that first season went right through COVID, and then I was here in 21 and 22 as well. But it was a unique time for sure. But we're excited to be back. My wife and I, we love the Shoals area. Looks a little bit different now. We have an 18-month-old, so it looks a little bit different than when we were here before, but we're excited about it. We loved it here. Can't thank Coach Dearman enough for obviously giving me the opportunity to come back here. So we're excited about it. And then previously had a relationship, over through the coaching profession with Coach Partridge, our offensive coordinator. So just kind of reconnected with him, and we're excited to be back here in the Shoals.
Yeah, and say while we're talking about coaching connections, obviously Coach Partridge, and you talked about that, but also on the other side of the ball, Clint Bowen, you guys were at Oklahoma State together, and you've had a lot of time in the Big 12. Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah. So I've kind of met Coach Bowen. Obviously we're both kind of from the Midwest region. He's from Kansas. I'm from Oklahoma, but we've kind of met over the years. But yeah, we were back there together at Oklahoma State. I got an opportunity to go back to where I played and coach. So took that opportunity, and we connected there, and it's pretty unique that obviously we were both there last year and on the same staff, and then here we are in the Shoals in Florence, Alabama, and obviously Coach Bowen does a tremendous job as a defensive coordinator. Yeah, he's a heck of a coach, and it's kind of how this coaching profession works. There's connections in the people and doesn't matter what region you are in the United States. There's connections everywhere, but I think we're both excited to be here, and then just like we've done, kind of hit the ground running and develop guys and go from there on and off the field.
Well, Coach, let's kind of take a step back for a minute. In your first stint, we were mentioning them in the break. You coached some Lion legends as a part of that. You had Parker Jiggers, Takari Kennebrew. The list can go on and on. What's it like to see kind of the impact that TK had, but also just and Parker that had for that matter at UNA, but just kind of see them grow and be successful outside of the football.
That's huge. In this profession, right, it's kind of, I know Snap Reed was on earlier talking about, just kind of an identity and a mentality that we have is, never flinch no matter the circumstances, when adversity hits. And, that's on and off the field both, because obviously they're going to be husbands, they're going to have kids, they're within the real world, we're preparing them on and off the field, So when adversity hits, they can't flinch, When the game ends and football's all said and done, you got to prepare these guys for life as well. So that's a big deal. They did a tremendous job when I was here. All the guys you mentioned, TK, Parker, all those guys. Cortez Hall was another great one that was here. But they're, I've connected with them here and there since I've been back, and they're all doing really well and being successful. And I think that's a part of it is just some of the adversity that they have went throughout their career. Like I said, we do this to prepare them for life as well, and they're all being successful. So that's really, really good to see. For those guys to grow as men as well.
So back on the field, you got those guys that were all conference guys you mentioned, like Takari Kennebrew, Dexter Boykin, Cortez Hall. A lot of awards happened under your watch the first time, and now you got another room that has guys like Noah Gregg and KJ Fields, guys that have been in the program a while. Talk about, as you went through spring ball, what you learned about this room and what you hope to accomplish.
Obviously getting here and hitting the ground running, there's new faces like Snap, and there's other ones, obviously that have been here, KJ Fields, right, Noah, K. Coop, but adding the other pieces to the room, it was about finding our identity as a group. I'm excited about it. I think there's some very talented guys in the room, but what we do between, now and game one is what's going to decide that, and you talk about the success of the guys that I have in the past, that's all on them, really. My job is to make sure they are doing the right things and give them the tools to be successful on and off the field as a man, and if they're doing those things right and growing as a human being and a man, they're going to be successful on the field. And just as I alluded to, with some of those guys I had in the past that are on to bigger and better things after their career, I don't feel any different about this group. There's some really talented guys that I think are doing a really good job. They're focusing. They come in every single day, and they're ready to attack it, and they're ready to work. Because the one thing that we're talking about developing is like the work habits, on the field with different things and being technique and fundamentals. And I think they'll be fine. They've done really good things over this spring and grew from, install one to all the way to obviously our last spring practice and our spring scrimmage. And they've just grown together. They've grown as a group. They've grown as individuals. But the work's not done. This is a week in, week out. You can't take a day off, can't take a week off as far as putting the work in to be successful during the season. So those guys have done a really tremendous job at attacking that each and every day. And here's the big thing too. They take, obviously playing wide receiver, you like to get the ball, but they take blocking on the perimeter, probably, there's no drop off is my point is in the effort and what they're trying to do. On and off the field. Everything matters. Every rep matters, and they know that and playing the game the right way to the standard of what our room is.
And, Coach, let's kind of dive into what is a North Alabama offense going to look like come the fall. We've already asked Coach Partridge this, but kind of you elaborate from the wide receiver side. What can we expect from your group this fall?
I think there's quite a few guys, that can make plays in the room. They're all different, in different ways. Obviously, they all have different skill sets and different crafts as far as what their game is. I'm excited about it. I think, we should be able to, create some explosive plays. But, I think, as Coach Partridge probably talked about, we'll probably be balanced in the run game and in the pass game. And, that all depends on, right, what that opponent looks like, based on what you got to do to win the game. But, I can tell you from a wide receiver standpoint, those guys are all in, whatever they have to do, from blocking on the perimeter to obviously, catching balls, and being explosive and scoring. They're willing to do whatever it takes to win. And that's the biggest deal is their mindset and being team first and being able to go out there and execute what Coach Partridge is asking us to do, whether it be on the ground, RPO, play action pass, doesn't matter. But those guys are all in for what we have to do to win, and I think that's the biggest thing. Number one thing is, you got to find a way to win, and that's all that matters.
Lions find a way. If you're just joining us, Mike Ezekiel, Grant Wakefield, we're talking to wide receivers coach Colby Ellis. And, Coach, first time you were here, you were kind of wrapping up in 2022, and we were still in Brawley Stadium, the historic venue that UNA played in for many years. And the stadium that's just a few feet away from us, Bank Independence Stadium, that's under construction, that was only a thought at that time. And all of a sudden the blueprint started coming out and construction started. And now you're back and you're seeing this product that's quickly coming together. You could see the North Alabama marquee as you drive by. You can see Bank Independence Stadium. The letters went up this week. The video board's being put in here in the next few weeks. Talk about this project and how exciting it is to be part of it.
Yeah, like you said, we obviously we're back in historic Brawley, right? When I was here previously, but no, it is. It's going to be big time. Obviously it's huge right here. On campus having that stadium. Right across the street. From a lot of other things that are going on, from what President Kitts has obviously done here as the president, Dr. Josh Looney, and what he has done in his time here has just been tremendous. And I think it's going to benefit North Alabama as a whole, as far as the things going on the campus, as a university, but also from a football program, and an athletic standpoint. But Dr. Looney obviously has done tremendous things, and this is going to be huge for recruiting, right? It's on campus, brand new. Looks better and better every day you see it, right? When it's one step closer to completion. But it's going to be huge. It's going to be huge for, like I said, recruiting. And, we're going to be able to walk right out the door and roughly walk 20 yards and step on the turf and be ready to go. So that's huge. And it's big for our guys for development as well, to be able to go out there and step, right out of the door, walk through the tunnel and be on the field for their development, extra work they want to get in. That's a very big thing as far as us growing together position by position, specialists, right, with working on the kicking game and all that. They kind of do their own thing, but as far as when they're on and off the field and working individual drills, but they can go out there at any time and point and, get their work in, because the kicking game is a big thing as well. But it's going to benefit everybody greatly, position by position, and we're excited about it. Like I said, there's a lot of great things going on here, and I'm excited to be back here and excited to just keep putting in the work one day at a time, developing these guys on and off the field. That's why we're in this profession, is to grow them as men as well. But it's going to greatly benefit North Alabama football and, Coach Dearman and things that he's done here to step, one step closer to this 2026 season and kick off game one there. So that's going to be exciting.
One of my favorite things about the Roar Down, and Grant can attest to this, you get a real inside look. We're talking to you and we're hearing a lot of things that's going on. But as we were talking about Bank Independence Stadium and hearing some of the things you said, it made me think of a call last week I got from Coach Dearman. And he said, Mike, have you thought about what we're going to do for the team pitcher? And I was like, it just dawned on me in that moment, this will be the first team pitcher ever taken in that stadium. And then we're about to just come into so many more firsts. First time the team walks through the tunnel. First time the team does the lion walk here on Pine Street. Grant, very exciting things about to happen.
Absolutely, and it's an exciting time, and we're seeing kind of the behind the scenes, the planning of kind of what's going into those first moments, and it's really cool to see, and can't wait for all of you guys out there, for Lions fans, to be able to see them on game day.
And, Coach Ellis, let's wrap up with this as we kind of close this episode of the Roar Down. You've been through spring practices. They're all complete. Guys are getting ready for finals. You guys are getting ready to go on the road a little bit and get ready for the summer. Fall camp's obviously coming up. So just tell us what your next few months look like as we get ready for game one.
Yeah, so obviously, like you said, guys are finishing up just finished up a few workouts, right? Getting ready for finals, which is huge. Obviously, they got to make sure they're doing what they're supposed to academically, which is very, very important to us as a program. But no, after that, hit the road a little bit for spring recruiting, right? A lot of coaches will be dispersed in a lot of ways, so we'll be all over the place. But no, it's exciting when you go out there, and obviously you get to keep recruiting and recruit the great state of Alabama and this South region. But that, and then we'll get into summer, right? A little bit of off time in May, and then we'll hit the ground running is June and July with the workouts. And it's kind of funny because when you hit June and July, it all becomes a blur, and then you blink and you're reporting for fall camp, and then here we go, right? fall camp starts and you have a certain amount of days to get ready for game one. So it's every step's going to matter. But, the guys finishing up finals, taking a little bit off time, obviously, before they report back for the summer is huge, right? Like get away from it, right? Take a deep breath. Coaches as well, right? I mean, that's important to everybody to regroup a little because June and July, obviously when we report, it's going to be, pedal down and it's going to be all gas, no brakes, and we're going to be hitting it running for game one, and that's obviously the most important thing is taking it a game at a time. But the big thing is to focus on who we are and what we're trying to do from our identity standpoint, right? Focus on, what Coach Partridge wants from an offensive standpoint, and Coach Dearman obviously as the head coach in our program. But focus on us right now, and then when we get into fall camp and later in fall camp, we'll start obviously detailing the work into what our opponents.
Yeah, very good. So a lot of time in between now and then, but the work will still continue. And some of those things you're talking about, tune into social media, see where these coaches are going as they come visit certain cities and get ready to keep building this program. But, Coach, thank you for taking the time to join us on the Roar Down today, and good luck the rest of the offseason.
Awesome. Appreciate you guys. Thank you for having me.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Absolutely. And, Grant, thank you for joining the show today. Hopefully Benjamin Ray will be back next week as we wrap up this episode of the Roar Down. For Grant Wakefield, for Braden Rogers behind the camera producing the show, for Coach Ellis, I'm Mike Ezekiel. Have a great day, and Roar Lions.